Hi, everybody, and welcome to our next webinar in our series on social VR platforms. So today I'm here with Harriet Bartlett from Laval Virtual and Dan Kipp from XR Base. And we're going to be discussing how VirBELA was used to run a massive conference for Laval Virtual with over 6,600 attendees last month, and also about how Dan and his team have been using Meet in VR and how they won the XR Base Investor event last month as well. So if you have any questions, if you have any technical issues, just put them in the chat. If you have any questions for either of the speakers, just drop them in the Q&A and we'll get to that at the end. So we're going to start with a presentation from Harriet, just a little intro, background, tour of VirBELA, and then we'll do the same with John. So Harriet, your turn. Go for it.
So hello everybody, and thank you for coming. It's nice to be able to speak about it a little bit. Even if there were plenty of feedback from the event and a lot of blogs and mediums and stuff like that, it's good to also be able to talk about it from an insider from all the technical parts. So thank you, Asha, for inviting me. So yeah, I don't know if all of you know about VirBELA, but VirBELA is a 2D, 3D platform, 2D for the PC and Mac, and you can also access it on VR through HTC Vive and Oculus Rift and Rift S, which is the most stable, really. It actually allowed us to create an event in a very short notice.
Very short notice.
Very short notice. So
how long was it? 6 weeks?
Yes. Yes, 6 weeks. So basically everything happened very quickly. As soon as the government decided to go down to 5,000 people per event, it was really complicated. We thought, like, how are we going to manage people coming in and out of the buildings, of the exhibition hall and the conferences? And then they went down to 100, and we thought, like, this is over. We're not going to do anything this year. To 50 people, and then no more events. So we decided to postpone this year and try to do something else. And then it was just like, okay, what we're going to do? And we just start testing. I used to go in art space, so I knew there was rooms and stuff like that you can actually do some little meetings and stuff like that. But we were thinking, okay, this is a kind of a one-of-a-kind event, and nobody has events right now. So if we do something, we don't know if we're going to have like 100 people or 10,000. There was no like really middle line of knowing what would happen and who would come and how everything would be going on. So it was just like, okay, let's try and see how it works and try to find a platform that allows us to have a lot of people at the same time. So we did a lot of tests. First on my own, I was just testing plenty of platforms, and the ones that I thought were very comfortable and easygoing, decided to go ahead and show more about it. Then it was South by Southwest that was cancelled. And I saw an XR Crowd post on WhatsApp about the cancellation and how we could help everybody. And so I got involved with XR Crowd, and we decided to test plenty of platforms all together. And after a while, and after defining the target that we were having our event, which is a lot of big companies, not always technical people, we decided to go with something pretty simple, which is a 2D access from a computer, at least. We kept VirBELA, Engage, Outspace. And then we inside of the team have PCs and Mac, so we decided to go with something where we actually have both, and went for VirBELA. And it was easygoing, easy to create, and just went inside of the open campus, asked everybody who I could talk to create an event, and then it went on. And we decided in very short notice what we needed, which was basically conference halls. And we just kind of set up like a little bit of streaming and material in the showroom that we have here, and decided to still keep the conference as they were. So over 150 speakers, I think exactly 172, which is a lot of people to manage, and of course help them go on the platform that they didn't know or didn't use. And there was also a lot of different technical details that were not super easy to go through. For example, back then there was no native share screening. Uploading files had to be a certain size. So knowing that all of you create content, you know that at some point you have a big image, it's very heavy, you put it in PowerPoint, it's a super heavy PowerPoint. And it was more of like, okay, let's try and make it happen with all the different tools that we have aside them that can be shared on the screen. And that's how I went. A little bit of craziness, a little bit of madness, a few people running all over the place. And it went okay. Nothing crashed.
Well, no, indeed. At the beginning, I was in there, and at the very first hour, I think some stuff crashed a little bit, but it was sorted out really fast, right? I mean, my God, it worked for the full days. I also had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, but we're working on having like a bar and the little beers, and we can do chin beers and like a little few details were missing, like having a little like a real dance floor or a party or something like that, even having the music and stuff. We did try and have the DJ on the soccer field, which was okay and nice, but it's like, it's not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You spend all your time on the beach, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask?
Can we show them that in VirBELA?
Yeah.
Can we actually go to can we take them to the beach in the platform? You can share screen.
Here, I'm actually going to share the open campus. Let me know when you know when you see my screen.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
Okay.
So you can create your own avatar when you start, as you've done.
Yeah, when you go in, you actually have a room where you can create your avatar. Unfortunately, they didn't have pink hair back then because I had pink hair. Now I don't. I'm sad.
How would you rate the avatar options?
I would say that they're not super sexy, very realistic avatars, but when you look at them, they're kind of okay-ish. They do the job, and oops, someone's here. They do the job. You have clothes, you can do a few movements. The interaction is pretty limited with other people, but okay.
And so you would use this bar here on the left to navigate through?
So here you have basically all the users in the world. So right now there's 200 people on the campus here. There is 30 people on the go-to. You can select where you want to go and just, it will teleport you there, or you can actually walk with the arrows. I'm going to put myself in first camera. I'm losing you. And so yeah, you had the nice firework here. You can do boat. You have little spaces where you can have private discussions. Every circle, blue line circle, means it's a private volume, so you can actually go inside and nobody outside of that specific zone will hear what you're saying.
I found that really valuable for networking, actually, when I was in it.
It is.
Yeah.
Should be a little more on the beach, but it's pretty nice. So yeah, nice fireworks. Something new that wasn't there and happened afterwards is the exhibition hall. which we didn't have because we didn't have time also to gather everything on 2 weeks is very short notice. And I feel like my computer is going to crash. So I don't know if you actually went on the open campus since then, but you have now a nice exhibition hall where you can
Oh, wow. So businesses can
showcase your
actually
stuff.
exhibit.
Oh, this is cool. I haven't
This
seen
is
it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
so this is a new feature they have that's just been built.
yes,
Interesting. And so could you, I guess hypothetically, you could actually make your booth like in one of the blue circles so that it's like you only hear the
yeah.
person who comes into your booth to chat with you? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This is how it goes on the ground here. You can see there's blue lines and you can't see anything inside yet, but
Oh,
once you go inside, you actually have a private volume to speak with people, and the screen will show you whatever you're showcasing.
wow. That's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. And they have various size of booths. There's no big booth here today, but normally, so you have like really looking alike booth with, you know, doors and chairs and tables to sit around. And they have also these little pods, which are nice to have like little private discussions, or also if you have like two people from a company, like a startup or something, it's easy going, pretty simple. Little screen, two chairs, a table, regular event, even if you're not really there. So that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, what was it like in a crowded room? Like when people were all in one room to watch a talk, for example, did they block each other out or?
Well, you have various options inside of the environment on the open campus. I'm not an admin, so I can't really show you everything, but you have specifications on each environment where you can have like voice fall off, you can have blue spaces, you can actually privatize, like if you're on stage and you're preparing and you don't want anybody to hear what you're saying, you can actually mute the stage. You have plenty of little stuff like that you can do as an admin and event organizer. And then when you are setting the room, you just say that everybody who comes in will be seated automatically and everybody will be muted.
Mm. That's really interesting because I remember, you know, people walking on stage, for example, like maybe new users who've never been in platform, just kind of randomly walk on stage while someone was speaking, for example.
Yeah, this is something that is being changed as well. There is now like a collision, and you only if you have the rights to go on stage, you are able to go on stage. Going to show you what the stage looks like. I don't know, somebody's here now. I'm good.
There we go. This is like the room that I
Yeah,
was moderating a panel on.
exactly.
Oh, I like, yeah, the presentation tool was really interesting
Yeah.
as well. What was it like as a team, like onboarding speakers who'd never used the platform before? How smooth was that? And you had like room hosts who had to take care of the room.
Yeah, so at first we were like 5 to organize the rooms and everything. We were 1 per room. In the end, we were like 10 because there is so many things to manage in between the people coming in between the speakers, in between any tech incident that might happen. A lot of people had mic issues, which is something that they are solving, I think, this month. And so you would have to be juggling in between people coming near you asking, okay, how do this work? My mic is not working, or I don't see what I'm sharing. I can't see this, I can't see that. And then it's just having like we had prepared the day before a guide, and the week before we had everybody coming in and training and stuff like that. We had a guide, but more the days were going, the more stuff we were adding to that guide. Because you would notice like, oh, okay, actually you should be able to know like 2 or 3 things so you can move on stage without being very stressed about how your avatar looks on stage. If you're sitting in the front row, it's cool, you have a good view, but what if I'm sitting with 100 people and completely the other side of the stage, I can see everybody's name in front of me. Hi, Ben. But
did you just bomb her presentation? It's so good.
it's coming.
I love
That's
it.
me. That's me. Hi, guys. Hi.
This was an interesting feature that I liked a lot as a participant, because when I was in the room, I was like, I can't actually see it took me a while to figure it out, but being able to zoom in on the screen from the back of the room was a great function. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
my
good.
avatar?
I really
he's
enjoy
dancing.
it. Oh wait, hang on a second. That's a funny feature of this platform actually, which is really fun as well.
It's a good way of expressing like fun and emotion, the whole dancing part.
Yeah. Wait, do the dance, Dan. Do the dance. It's funny.
Do the dance.
Hold on.
So there are all these different features to dance and sing, or I don't know what else. They were really hilarious. He's doing Gangnam Style right now. So at the end of the panel I did, we actually did, like, all of us Gangnam Styled or danced at the same time. It was just quite funny, actually. I enjoyed that bit.
Oh, it's not funny because I don't have the admin rights, and like if you're an admin, you have secret stuff that you can do, and I don't know if it's working here. Oh yeah.
Whoa, that's a cool one. Nice.
Playing a saxophone, that's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, actually the public chat is like a control panel. So as an admin, you don't have to be on the back end trying to modify some stuff. You can actually just like slash it and put it inside, and it will put you in action, which is pretty cool. Anybody that wants to do like a cheers, which is a command that is allowed by everybody, or is it cheer? You can actually just tap it and it will happen, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so there's plenty of little things like that when you have the environment you don't know, and the more you use it, you find stuff. So it's like if you want to find people in the world, you just do there is you do CTLF, and then you can see where everybody is inside of the world. So if you're looking for someone and you want to send him a message, you can, and like, let's meet at this place, and you'll be able to find them there.
So you press Control S, and then you can get all the users up in one shot.
Yeah, Control S. Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's getting a lot of improvement right now. We did a lot of feedback to VirBELA as well on our uses and how some stuff could be improved, and they were already working on some of them. Some of them probably be coming up soon. Yeah, I guess it's an easygoing environment where you can do actually plenty of different stuff. It's not just for conferences or stuff like that. You can actually have like a campus on it, like really a school. There's environments with I don't know, one of the environments, they have like plenty of rooms in it, and it's like super big and super nice. Oh, Alex is here. Hey.
Nice.
So last week we had a record. We had 1,080 people in one.
See, Alex is maybe we're gonna leave them alone.
Things move to a simple avatar.
Hey, Alex. Great. Are there any other features, Harriet, that you want to show on the platform before we get done?
Or larger.
Oh,
can brand everywhere you see
I think the best thing for everybody is to actually download the Open Campus and try the environment. It's actually very simple to use, and you can do plenty of stuff and discover really what's going on. You can do boats, you can play football, you can have
And
like
it's, yeah.
meetings, and you have offices with plenty of rooms available. You have really plenty of stuff that can be done inside of the environment, but you can also bring your stuff, like if you have specific 3D I don't know, environment that you want to put inside, you can add it. If you have 3D models that you want to put inside, you can put them inside. It's coming all really smooth and easy now. I guess one of the things that will change soon is the weight of the application. For all of you that already downloaded the application, you will notice that it's actually pretty heavy for the computers. So you have to have a really good computer. But in the end, once you have it and you're just using that and you're doing your meetings and stuff, it's actually, it's very easy to go. It's, you know, I think it's one of the best, yeah, kind of the best one right now, because it's not full VR. It is not only PC and Mac, it's both, even if the VR is still on a better version. And in between doing a conference or an exhibition or doing just remote work from home, it's pretty nice to be able to do everything that you would normally do in the office, except talking face to face with someone in real life. It's basically the same thing.
Nice. Well, thanks for that kind of intro to the platform. I'm going to turn it over to Dan now so that he can kind of show us a little bit of Meet in VR and how he's been using it. And then we'll ask you guys some more questions about your experience. And if anyone else has any questions, put them in the Q&A and we'll get to them at the end.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Harriet. That was pretty clear, because Meet in VR is, to be clear, a VR tool, obviously. So you have to use a headset. It's different from VirBELA. Did you try the VR beta, Harriet?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get to that. That's actually one of my first questions at the end after. So
sorry for that. So the answer is yes, but we'll know more after. So the Meet in VR. Okay, Meet in VR is it's a platform to meet in VR, and it is from a Danish startup that were part of the Nordic XR startup batch, the accelerator from Helsinki, and they've been working on this platform for a while now. I know the founders and the team also for a while now. And I think basically the introduction, also the reason for me sitting here was obviously the same reason as Harriet was sitting here, is COVID. You know, Corona started to pop up. And XRBase also is a co-working space. I mean, it's not the best times to run a physical co-working space when everybody has to sit, at least in the Netherlands, 1.5 meter apart. And yeah, it was a physical collaboration space, right? Just as Laval is actually a physical event. So there was, the WhatsApp group was going on. I see Andre is also in here, Andre Lunev, who has started the initiative XR Crowd, and we were already all of us in this group. And I think this was like maybe 2 months or 3. Okay, hold on, it's my doorbell. This stuff also happened. Give me 1 second.
That's so funny. Harriet, but actually that's a really good question about that he was asking before about, you know, what was your experience in the headset in VirBELA? Because you did say, I think earlier, that Rift and Rift S were best.
Yeah, well, HTC Vive, Rift and Rift S are the ones that work best on it. I tried with the Cosmo, no, don't. But yeah, no, to be honest, I started the VR experience, did a little walkthrough, and then just stopped because it for me it wasn't finished, so it was really complicated to have all the in VR back then with VirBELA. But yeah, there is improvement to be done. They're working on it. They also have a web VR part that's called Frame VR. If I'm good on the name, and it should be coming up soon and clear and smooth.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm also back. Okay, this type of stuff happens when you work from home. I'm sorry for that.
Real
So
talk.
let me also share my screen. I mean, where I left off is that we were all together in this group trying all these platforms. It's the same introduction as Harriet just told us. Hold on. And do you guys see my screen?
Yep. You're in VirBELA. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, Meet in VR was one of the platforms that we were all trying already. And I think I already knew it, and we were trying it out with a little bit more people than 2 or 3. I think the platform can do 8 or maybe 8 people or 10. So it's really for meetings. Here you can see me in the back. I guess here I look a little bit, the curls that they don't have on the avatar yet. So I use this kind of long hair, I guess.
You look like a blonde Jesus.
I look like a blonde Jesus there. It's not on purpose, but it was the closest to it, like to my actual hair. But the platform for me stood out in it's like really in its simplicity. What I like about VirBELA too is you just load the software and you can just walk around in the world. Yeah. And the moment that you are with headset, fortunately, I mean, I have my Quest since Corona times always with me, and I love this little mobile device without a headset. So already it's so much easier to like go use VR, right? Without a tethered headset and without the whole desktop stuff. But then if you're using VR, it's still, yeah, you still need to boot up a platform and go somewhere. And what I like about the Meet in VR mostly, and what I liked about it mostly is that it's just so simple. There's one menu to log in and you choose the room that you can actually go into. Let me show you a little video as well to give you some impression of Meet in VR. This is their website. It's an enterprise collaboration in virtual reality. There's more and more features being added every month. It's in public beta right now, so you can get access. And they are about to launch a new space, the Idea Space, and this is actually a video. Let's see, normally videos don't really.
The Idea Space is Meet in VR's crown jewel. It's been created together with some of the world's top universities, following tens of years of research into team collaboration. This room offers you maximum creative freedom, not only by writing whiteboards on which you can write, draw, and snap any media content with ease, but also because the whole 3D space is your creative canvas, allowing you to place files and draw anywhere in midair, creating 3-dimensional mind maps. It is possibly the best teamwork room ever designed. This Idea Space is perfect for brainstorming sessions, design sprints, workshops, creative planning, and storyboarding. Experience this room now. Ready to meet in VR?
So I think that it's actually super clear what the positioning is of Meet in VR. There's like a limited set of stuff you can do. It's about meeting and collaboration with a smaller set of people, because where the Laval Virtual World is really event-based, Meet in VR is really for smaller groups of people. So I guess that's kind of the what of Meet in VR. What can you do with it? But I think more important to share with you guys is also the reason, like, why would you use it? Because why wouldn't you use Zoom? And for instance, what we use as well is sometimes Zoom in combination with Miro. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Miro is another online collaboration tool, right? The 2D one. I don't know if the people in the chat know this tool. But I mean, why would you use a VR collaboration tool and not just a Zoom in combination with other types of tools? And I think for me, and also for my team, the reason is it's very clear. I think if we are 2 people, we just have a phone call or a WhatsApp call, you know, to even for a meeting for 30 minutes. If it's 3 people, we might actually do like this, a Zoom call, and you can still have a pretty efficient a meeting where you swap out ideas and stuff. The moment that you have 4, 5, or 6 people, the XR-based team is most of the time it's 6, 7, or 8 people. The moment you do that in a Zoom call, you kind of lose like a smooth operation, you know, that you normally have in a physical setting. So normally when you are physically in a group of 6 and you have a meeting, you have all types of interactions and you have like body language, you can point at stuff. And it's pretty clear also, like, where am I looking? And then other people, the group is also looking to the speaker, to the people who is speaking. And all that type of behavior, that is just working exceptionally well in VR and also in Meet in VR. When you're just sitting in a circle around each other, all of these interactions and these optimizations is actually working out. So we don't even use it with all the extra stuff. So the whiteboarding and the brainstorming and all that stuff, we don't really use that yet. I think it's also because you have to get used to it. Before Corona, I wasn't really used to use VR or to be inside of VR for extended periods of time. So it definitely has to do with like getting used to being in VR for some people. For me, after a while, I think I could spend, well, for the XR-based investor event we did during Laval, I think I spent like 6 hours straight in my small Oculus Quest here, even overheated. But for Meet in VR, it is like 6 people of our team for 30 minutes to an hour to have a conversation about any type of complex topic. And this is just what,
good.
Yeah. And then in combination with the Quest, it's what's working exceptionally well for us.
And the sign-in is really like quick and intuitive and getting in, because that's actually one of the things that in the days that I spend a lot of time in VR, going between platforms, and I have to be in and out of the headset, on my computer, on the headset, you know, the platforms that have a laborious kind of like sign-in process is a bit of a pain every time.
Right. And I think like the main thing, people have to actually experience an added value for using VR, right? And I think a lot of power users, and with power users, I mean designers, you know, like that design car manufacturers and designers, or architects that have a VR workflow, also a collaborative workflow. You go into these platforms where you look at models and you turn models around. Hey, you see that a lot online as well. And you scale models up and down, or you look at parts, and you go more into the collaboration and to maybe the training even, and the education. And I guess that's a lot of platforms also focusing on that. So for me, it's really looking at all those different platforms. It's really at the moment, what activity do you want to do at the moment with a team of people in VR? Yeah. And for me, Meet in VR is absolutely the #1 in just having a conversation with 6 people. So that's what I really use it for.
Interesting. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I didn't really, sometimes we also, we tried all types of platforms. So sometimes we do try to get into some whiteboarding, and obviously the #1 feature that we at least use after just talking is pulling up a PowerPoint or a Keynote or PowerPoint or whatever, because you run through some information, the six of you. So that's like, after talking, you also need sometimes to actually look at some sheets and discuss something. And that's also very easy. Yeah, go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, and so like, because Meet in VR is like fully only headset, really great. Harriet, I'm wondering, because you said the headset function capabilities for VirBELA were not that great, I'm assuming they don't really have a lot of this kind of like spatial collaboration functionality on the platform.
It's coming.
It's coming?
Yeah, so basically they were just starting the VR part, and when we decided to take the platform, we knew that they were only launching something end of year. So we knew that what we were testing was It's like really like the beginning, like we make it work inside of the VR.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they've kind of been almost evolving the platform based off of the feedback that they got from you guys pulling off this event, really. That's really, really
yeah,
interesting.
from us and from all the different people that actually shared their experience, either on as I said, all the feedback that we had either on Twitter, either on the mediums and stuff like that, all the different articles that have been done by all the people trying inside of the VR headset. And I believe that all the VirBELA team has now all the info and know how to make the improvement necessary for it to be fully.
I saw something in Meet
Oh, you're breaking up for me, Asha.
I think she's breaking up.
Yeah, okay, for you too. That's okay. I mean, what I wanted to say, Asha, is that I think looking at all these platforms and also the comparison with VirBELA Meet in VR, it's really these platforms stick to something that they're really good at. Because if you make a comparison list of all the other platforms, all platforms have something that they do pretty well, you know, but there's not one platform that does everything well. Because when we were deciding on I guess for Laval and also for the platform Engage in the end that we used for the XR-based investor event, which is also an event, yeah, I mean, you hope that you can have like this VirBELA type of world with maybe 500 to 1,000 people all in headset and do everything, you know, and run smoothly, and you can, so that's like a dream platform or a dream world. But I think looking at all the platforms, we're at pretty early stage, but you can already, based on the activity that you need to do, you can select a platform that works really well. So for me, that's like the main learning from comparing all these different platforms.
Yeah, it's true. And this is how we actually selected also the VirBELA platform. We knew that a lot of people with who we were talking, who were going to be speakers or visitors, did not have any headset at home.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Platforms are not able to support so much people, but at the same time, there's not so much people with headsets.
So that's exactly my point, because at the when you guys first selected with Laval VirBELA, I was a little bit surprised, let's call it, because of VR, not in VR. But very soon I noticed there's no other way of doing an event in that scale. So that really fit the purpose. And for me, it's the same with Meet in VR. If you want to do 6 to 8 people, really with a simple user experience and a very smooth one, that really fits the purpose. Another thing, a little bridge, is there's one activity which people actually do in all platforms, and it's not just meeting. Hold on, let me share my screen. It's
playing.
Of course, it's also playing. There's more than that going on. But what I really noticed, what we did at the history, what I also see that you can do in Meet in VR, but also in VirBELA, is hold these types of interviews, and it's really funny to look at that.
Definitely, technology is something that I've grown up with and have been something I've been involved with since I was quite young. So I was born in China, but I moved to the States when I was 8.
And this is the head of
my father
XR
specifically sat my brother and I down and said,
and why am I pulling this up? I mean, this is a Meet in VR is a meeting platform, but here you see an interview setting, right? But actually what I found quite interesting is how fun it is to look at interviews. So this is a different, this is from the investor event that we did. Hold on. And here you see the same type of thing going on, right?
Event.
It's kind of the, gosh.
VR for many people.
And I saw this happening on VirBELA as well. And I think this is a format that does extremely well to do it in VR and then to consume the content on YouTube. We had a lot of views there. You know, it's kind of a new way of seeing. It's kind of a quirky, fun way of looking at people in VR that are interacting and interviewing each other. And it's kind of interesting still to look at because it's so new. So that's also a surprise for me.
Yeah, we did all the conference streaming, and we did have more views than we had from the physical event.
Right.
Very funny. But after that, we do not like always do a lot of communication on the post after a while videos of the conferences. They're available there on the YouTube channel. But yeah, this time there was a lot of people for us.
Yeah.
Non-good user of YouTube.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Because we started actually using Meet in VR for these 1 hour talks with six people. Is the Laval team sometimes using VR tools already, or are you guys using the Laval world still for some collaboration, and what's happening there with the team?
So basically, we are preparing the architecture of the Laval Virtual world, and you will be able to have access to it from the 16th of June, full time. And we are planning to do various activities inside. And if you have a meetup and you can't do it right now, you'll be able to use the platform. It's free. There's also paid spaces if you want an office in there or stuff like that. So there's plenty of different offers that you can have. It's exclusively a VR and AR community, immersive tech community. And there'll be plenty of things that we're wrapping up right now and preparing for the 16th. But yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Cool.
Nice. It's a secret. Oh shit, it's on the internet.
Hey,
I got kicked out of my own Zoom.
Oh, you're back.
Go figure. Sorry, guys. I don't know how I got kicked out.
Hey, Aisha, are you and the team, are you actually using like a platform like Meet in VR, or any other type of VR platform to do some collaboration or some meetings or what?
Yeah, unfortunately, everyone on our team doesn't have a headset at home, which is an issue. And so, I mean, we have been using Engage for events, and I have been using it to meet other people for meetings, but my own, personally, my own team, they don't. So unfortunately.
Yesterday I was attending an event inside of VR, because now I attend a lot of VR events as well, which is actually great. And there was a speaker, Richard Ward. That's the guy from McKinsey, who's also in the XR crowd group. And what he said, like VR still is a team sport like soccer, and everybody in the soccer team has soccer shoes. Makes a lot of sense. So you can play the game, but everybody outside the team, you know, all other support, nobody has the shoes yet. So not everybody plays, you know, so it's still
VR. It's frustrating.
It's frustrating. It's still such a team sport that also with my team, we only use VR because we have 6 headsets, and then somebody is left out some of the time. So because the headset is blown out. So it is really, this penetration thing we need to solve in the end. Take time. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, is there a functionality with Meet in VR to stream to a 2D platform, for example? Is it even worth it?
No, you can stream from to not yet, but I think this might be a nice bridge also to invite the Meet in VR founder, who could tell us a little bit more about the upcoming features. Let's see.
Christian.
Hey, Christian. Christian is in here. Let's see.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you again.
Did you guys answer all of the questions in the Q&A? They've disappeared for me.
No.
Go through. You could take a look.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Christian.
Hi, Christian.
Awesome.
Surprise guest appearance from Christian,
Surprise.
the founder.
Yeah, we were just before this.
It was a surprise for me as well. Dan just wrote me a few hours ago. He said he's gonna do this, and if I want to jump in and say hi. So
yeah, and actually, I'd be curious to know of any other features of Meet in VR that you're working on. I saw that you have team building exercises. I think that's where I kind of cut out.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've been working on a lot of new stuff, and I'm extremely, extremely excited to say that there's gonna be some news coming out very soon. I can't really divulge a lot right now, but for the past couple of months, we've been working between 12 and 16 hours a day to make these things happen. So very soon you're going to hear about some of our new features. Dan has already gave you a teaser, and you're the first who've ever seen that video. So we have one new room, which is great for collaboration. It's great for whiteboarding. It just works very well. It feels very natural, and it's based on some of the studies which Stanford and other universities have been doing on team collaboration in virtual worlds for over 20 years. So it's just going to be extremely cool. So
hey, and Christian, what's your because just an hour ago we were in this idea room just brainstorming a little bit, which was quite fun, and you told me what you guys are really focusing on. You know, it's not replicating the actual real life, which also makes a lot of sense with these platforms, because with VirBELA, with all other Engage, you see a lot of replications of the real world, which I think makes a lot of sense, because you also feel kind of comfortable. So maybe for this year and the next and the year after, you really see people replicating real life situations. But what's your vision on this?
Sure. So we've seen that a lot of VR collaboration platforms take the approach of sort of trying to create a bridge in between the Zoom call and the real life meeting. So kind of finding the best compromise in between these two. But how we're approaching this is we're actually trying to make the meetings even better and more efficient than they are in real life in some ways. So we're looking at all the interactions which you normally would have in a business or work meeting in real life, and we're trying to make them even more optimal and even more intuitive and efficient. So for example, you know, at any point in time you can just grab a pen from behind your ear when you don't, and do a drawing in 3D. When you don't need it anymore, you just throw it away. The same with your tablet, you can always grab it in a second. When you don't need it, you just throw it away. So yeah, basically our goal is to give you superpowers in your meetings and to try to make them better and more efficient than they are even in life. That's
and yeah, and not while actually cluttering the platform, because we were also discussing 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, all the other stuff that you already had on the platform that you just scrapped out because it was like the objects and the items. It's not that that Meet in VR didn't have that yet, but I guess that's also the reason for us to have picked Meet in VR, is that it started out with a bigger platform, but just you went with more focus into what's the core of the collaboration and talking in the group.
Yes, most of the time we're not thinking what we can add, we're thinking what we can remove to make this simple and intuitive and not create any kind of, you know, mental strain, and just, you know, be very simple to decide.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and also probably very user friendly then for people who are new to VR especially. So any new team that might be trying to implement this, that could be like a good go-to for
But I mean,
any more collaboration.
It doesn't mean that there's not a lot of things you can do. Basically, we still offer you a ton of options of ways in which you can collaborate.
Okay. I have a question also for Harriet, because I'm wondering what the future plans are for a big event like Laval. And I'm also kind of wondering if, you know, all of what you've done is kind of trickled down into the daily work of Laval. Like, are you guys all using VirBELA regularly now? Like, are you going to be maybe evolving into using multi-platforms for different things, different parts of the event? Is it going to go just back to real life?
No, there's no coming back. During the event, we did try to have a few outspace rooms open with the streaming going on and everything, but it was complicated. We were only, because of the COVID, we were, I think, 4 in the room. And it was like, I don't know if you actually saw the room we had at the LV Center here. Oh, I don't have any battery left. I'm going to press. Oops. That's me. Sorry, happens all the time. So yeah, we were 4 there, and we had 10 computers running for the conferences and the different cameras around the environment. We had 3 other computers with headsets on it. We had also each of us helping on the conferences, the moderation, stuff like that, 2 computers. So it was a bit of a big computer mess, and we couldn't do everything. And in the end, we just decided that, okay, we would try to open the rooms every day on Outspace, because we didn't have time to program them beforehand. So, but we opened it, I think, one night and didn't the other days. But we are also using other platforms, and the goal is to be able to actually use all of them for different events, for different purposes. Last minute call, we did the Rectal Verso, which is our art and VR gallery. We did it on, we just modeled the environment on Unity and put it on the web page, and it was easy to going through and everything, but it's not super immersive, and we do have the environment, so we can actually add it some point either in Outspace or in VR chat or something like that. But it's just like right now we just did what we could in 2 weeks of time, and then we're just thinking, okay, next year we know that we're going to use all the different technology. It's going to be hybrid event, but it's just like we do have ideas of how it's going to happen, but we know that everything is going to change in the next months.
Yeah, so I can add to that. It's the same for this investor event that we did. We did for the 4th time. It's part of VR Days Europe as well. The 3rd one was last VR Days last November, and we will do the next one, the XR-based investor event again in November, but as a hybrid probably. You know, if we can do something. There's all types of interesting hybrids that you can think of. Not only hybrid also in the sense of online, offline, but also for multiple platforms. And of course, the trade-off is you don't want to make it too difficult for your participants.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference between event and meeting. Huge difference in functionality and stuff. So the investor event is event, and we want to do that online and offline. But for meetings, we would probably consider using Meet in VR again for people to do that. So there you also go into the select the platform that does one thing really best and try to go with that for now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. One other question I have to ask before we wrap up, Harriet, is you said 172 speakers, 172.
Yeah.
Like how many people?
I can't hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, there you are.
Zoom keeps kicking off my audio. I don't know why. I think my computer overheated or something. So I was just wondering, like, how many people did it take to run that whole event? In the back end, how many on the team?
So we were 4 here full time, 2 coming in and out. So 6 here, definitely. We had the people in the environment, there were 5 of them, so 11. You add the moderators, we were approximately 10-ish. So that's 21 people. And then you actually, on content side, we had 3 people. So yeah, like a team of 25 people.
25 people. Wow. Okay, that's good. That's really good to know.
For the XR-based investor event was the same thing. I mean, Andre was a producer, and then we had not 25, but the same thing in terms of more people than you would expect to pull something off. It's doing an actual production. It has so much similarities. The XR-based investor event team was about 5 in the core team and another 5 around it, and we had a lot of moderation support and help from Diversion. So there's
a lot that goes on in the background.
Actually. I underestimated that for sure. And another thing that we didn't really talk about yet is also it's a bit too late for that, but maybe you can do that another time, is the pricing of these things, because it actually costs a lot of money to do something in VR, to organize an event. Not everybody understands that it cannot be free, you know. I mean, the event cannot just be free while actually.
Yeah, how much was the corporate, I guess, price for something like VirBELA for an event of that size?
To be honest, I don't know, because we in the budget I would give you, we have the time spent for people, so it's not relevant, because in France everything's very expensive in terms of workforce. So it would look pretty impressive. But basically, we were 20 25, let's say 25 on the event. And I know that I basically worked every day for the week, every day, yeah, from every day and night. Like I slept from 2 to 4 hours during the event. And I used to work every day, like Saturday and Sunday, working all the time, trying to figure out the last stuff to do and prepare people and do the testing, do the onboarding, trying to resolve some little issues, change stuff last minute. And that in terms of hours, and I still haven't taken any holidays, like real cut from the event, because since then there's plenty of things happening. We decided to open the world, like I said earlier. There's plenty of things that are going to happen in the next few days. And it's just a lot of work. And I would say a price range for a small company going inside of VirBELA, they actually have their pricing on the site. You would start at probably $100 per month for a small team, for a team suite, to a whole new environment, probably around 70K dollars for.
I mean, it's and the same goes for the collaboration platforms, because this is again event, but for the other platforms, pricing, I mean, again, it's all developers working on these platforms, so it's expensive platforms, you know, it's development hours. But
and actually, a good question, like off of that, is, can you pay them to can you pay their teams to build you custom environments for Meet in VR and for VirBELA?
Yes.
Can Meet in VR do it as well, Dan? Like if you wanted them to.
I think most platforms will allow that, because it can be part of a revenue model where you do project-based custom environments, because it's most of the time a one-off, but you do make decent amounts of revenue with that. But
and
I think
don't forget the pricing from a real event. I mean, there's nothing to be compared.
Nothing to be compared, but the same with these platforms like Meet in VR. I pay for Zoom quite a lot. I find it expensive. I pay for Miro. I don't know if you guys know it, but the Miro board is extraordinarily expensive. It's insane. And then I have to pay for all other online collaboration tools. Let's not forget Google. It's also in the end quite a lot. So there's a lot of cost already for all these other online collaboration tools, but there's no VR one yet. And I'm also trying, as a consumer, as a user, trying to make up my mind, like what would be a fair price for something like this, because it's early stage tech. It's actually more expensive to develop, so it should be higher priced, but feeling wise, you also want to have a fair deal. So I think it will be
interesting to see it all kind of being fleshed out, because you know the business models too for these are being developed.
It's interesting to see Spatial just launched for free, for instance, just to create to build a big user base.
In the chat here,
yeah, there you are again.
Keep getting kicked off here. Just that Harriet, there was a shout out to say that I think a speaker here was saying that during Laval, she was getting notifications at midnight from you guys, so she knows you're working all hours. Good job. Congrats on that. But there's a good question here that says, do you see a time where we could create our own 3D environments in these platforms? Like, do you guys know if that's on the roadmap for VirBELA or for Meet in VR?
I can answer that.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I think it's important to know that there's a difference between going into a platform and an environment and modding it, importing models, and you can dress it up, right? There's a lot of platforms that already allow you to do that, to make some kind of your own room within the environment. That's not the same, obviously, as a brand new, totally new environment. So that's an important difference. I think what you see more and more is that platforms will make it more customizable. And adaptability, that's actually going pretty fast. The whole new thing, the whole new play, I mean, that depends a little bit on platforms allowing you to upload your own basic environments and go from there. I haven't seen a platform, a VR platform at least, that at the moment, but I'm sure in the future we'll see that. But before we see that, I think the modding will become very popular.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well that actually before you wouldn't have anybody in your company doing any 3D, but today it's actually more accessible, and a lot of people actually create their own 3D models and stuff like that inside of corporates or and it's actually easier for them to create and have like a specification on how to optimize their 3D and then send it to a company to be able to do like a customization. It really goes from old company, I would not say old companies, but a certain way of having the resources inside of the company and be able to create something and be able to upload it on whatever platform it is.
Yeah, what I think is not, this is not even a feature that I would want to see developed at the moment, the customizable environments. What I would love to see any platform do is an amazing soundscape where you don't have to mute everybody all the time, where the binaural is working very well, because the sound is half the experience, right? I think of VirBELA, but also in VR. Yeah. So in Meet in VR, that's also, again, another feature why I like it so much. The sound is amazing. It's easy to use, you go in, but the soundscape is really crystal clear, you know, it's really fine. So at the moment, it's also because you go with 6 to 8 people, but you can hear each other very crisp and clear. That's why it's a high quality platform. But a lot of platforms have issues with sound and spatial sound mainly. So that's something that we need to, I think, see some a bigger progress in the next year.
Yeah. I've taken a bit of a liberty going a little over here, but I feel like I got cut off. So I want to like ask these last few questions here. One is, were there any challenges faced by attendees and presenters to get software installed on their business hardware, like getting through corporate IT firewalls to install the software?
Yes, there were a few.
Yeah.
How did you get around them?
Well, we had to
like
call
case by case.
You just do the regular thing. The user cannot do it, then you called in how do you call that service where you have all the computer, the IT
service.
You ask the IT to give them the authorization and to install the software, and that's it. To be honest, I do have to say something. I was pretty impressed with the fact that I'm not an engineer. I am basically just a lady on the computer every day and picking up my phone. This is a little bit reducing, but that's basically what I do. Yeah.
Reduced, but yeah, we get what you mean.
And then you have in front of you all these people working in tech, being very much producing content on computers that are way high-end than my poor PC here. And sometimes I was a little bit confused to be helping someone that was supposed to be like very high level in terms of dev or stuff like that, and couldn't understand what I was saying about a microphone. And I have to say that it was the strangest thing that I have ever experienced. I feel like, okay, if I've been able to do it, like just click, 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 and it's done. Sometimes it's just like confusing. So
user experience really still needs to evolve.
Experience is either I have a level of intellect that allows me to do it, or either
but
the user experience,
I don't know
for anybody else.
And if I can answer too, because it's a really good question, because it's a feature that's often overlooked, the security of all platforms. Because obviously, if you're a team of 6, I got a request from one of the biggest hospitals in the Netherlands, and they wanted to review patients' heart videos from the heart, but their security officer wouldn't allow them to use any of the VR platforms because they didn't want the videos uploaded and it's patient stuff. So immediately they cannot do the research from a privacy perspective. And especially in Europe with the whole GDPR, that's the case. But I think there's a lot of platforms that are looking into it. Meet in VR and others are as well, because it's a valid question.
Nice. And this is a quick one for you, Dan, as well. What was the XR Basis team's experience with Meet in VR note-taking functionality?
It's okay. It's very crisp. I don't really use notes a lot. I don't really write stuff down. I find it very annoying still to use my hands in VR, and I tried the Oculus Quest Beta with the hand movements. again, if I could be able to type, I saw
Yeah.
Oculus or something, I think they are assigning keys on your fingers, keystrokes, something. But for me, the note-taking, the typing, the drawing, all that stuff, it's good, especially in Meet it's crisp, but I just use it for talking and looking at presentations and having team talks. So I think it's fine, but I don't really use it that much. Maybe occasionally. It's not, not a big feature for me.
Yeah, and so the person who asked the question, actually, Michael, he says that Meet and VR also has a audio notes speech to text function. Maybe that's
same thing. Yeah. I mean, another thing that is interesting that I like, for instance, about another platform, Engage, is to record the whole session.
Yeah.
And play it back. I mean, that's amazing. You know, that I think that's a feature that a lot of platforms should have. So that's something.
Really interesting. Yeah, and someone just, their last question was it's coming from South Africa, where they say it's unlikely they'll have VR headsets commonplace anytime soon. What was the best normal browser-based experience? And Harriet, you said
Mozilla Hubs.
Mozilla
Yes,
Hubs.
for me too. Even on my phone, it's my new iPhone. It's working for about 10 minutes. Then it gets fried. It gets too hot. Using Mozilla Hubs on my iPhone. It's the newest iPhone, but there you can see that these platforms also still have some issues. You know, I can only, after 5 minutes, my phone gets burned. But Mozilla Hubs is a fine platform too. But again, it's about the activity that I guess that you want to do.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time, for, sharing all of this, for pushing the boundaries, with this technology and being like the first, through the door with this stuff, and feeding it back to these platforms. I think it's like a really important thing that's happening right now. And it's really, and congratulations also to both of you on two very, very successful events that you've run in VR. I was very impressed.
My
hat is off to you both.
As well. You were there.
Yeah, no problem. No, but I know how much it takes, and it's good to hear the realities of it all. So I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.